The day my wife laughed at the farmhouse I spent 2 years restoring with my own hands, I said nothing. She called it my midlife crisis project and told everyone I was wasting my weekends chasing a fantasy. 6 weeks after I sold that same property for $870,000, she stopped laughing. The moment she learned how much it sold for, she hired a lawyer and demanded a share of money she never believed I would make. 5 years ago, I bought an abandoned farmhouse sitting on several acres of neglected land outside a small tourist town. Most people thought I had lost my mind. The roof leaked, the foundation needed repairs, and weeds had swallowed nearly every corner of the property. Still, I saw potential where everyone else saw problems. Something about that forgotten farmhouse reminded me of myself. It had been overlooked for years, but I believed it could become something valuable again. My wife, Karen, never shared my vision. She constantly joked about my farmhouse obsession and referred to it as my expensive hobby. At family dinners, she would tell relatives that I was pretending to be a real estate developer. Her brothers laughed. Her friends laughed. Eventually, the entire family treated the project like a running joke. Every sarcastic comment felt like another weight on my shoulders, but I kept working because I believed success would speak louder than arguments. For the next 2 years, I poured everything into that property. I worked my regular job during the week and spent every free weekend renovating. I repaired walls, replaced flooring, rebuilt fences, and landscaped the grounds. There were days when my hands bled from labor and nights when exhaustion made me question whether everyone else was right. Yet every improvement strengthened my determination. Slowly, the abandoned structure transformed into a beautiful farmhouse that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Then everything changed. A luxury resort developer announced plans for a major project nearby. Almost overnight, property values began climbing. Real estate agents started contacting local landowners with offers. One agent called repeatedly, insisting that my farmhouse was attracting attention from wealthy investors. Curious, I agreed to meet with a beer. What happened next completely shocked me. The first offer exceeded anything I expected. Then a second beer offered even more. Soon multiple investors were competing for the property. The same farmhouse everyone mocked suddenly became one of the most desirable properties in the area. After careful negotiations, I accepted an offer of $870,000. When the sale officially closed 6 weeks later, I sat in my truck staring at the paperwork, realizing that years of sacrifice had finally paid off. The reaction at home was immediate. Karen transformed almost overnight. Suddenly she wanted to discuss investment plans and future opportunities. The woman who had mocked every stage of the project now referred to it as our success. During a family gathering, she proudly told relatives that she had always supported me. Listening to her rewrite history was almost unbelievable. The people who once laughed were now congratulating me and acting as if they had believed in me all along. The situation became serious when I explained that the farmhouse had been purchased with money I inherited from my grandfather and restored entirely through my own effort. Karen did not like hearing that. She argued that marriage meant everything should be shared. I reminded her of the countless jokes, insults, and public embarrassment I endured while building the property. Instead of accepting responsibility, she became angry and accused me of being selfish. Several weeks later, a letter from an attorney arrived at my house. Karen had hired a lawyer to explore whether she could claim part of the proceeds from the sale. Reading that letter felt surreal. The person who spent years mocking the project was now attempting to benefit from its success. Fortunately, I had kept detailed records. Every receipt, property document, bank statement, and renovation expense clearly showed the history of the investment. The legal consultation that followed revealed the truth. The farmhouse had been purchased using inherited funds and maintained through separate accounts. The evidence was overwhelming. Karen's attorney quickly realized there was little basis for her claim. For the first time, everyone involved was forced to acknowledge reality. The property became valuable because I believed in it when nobody else did. Its success belonged to years of effort, persistence, and sacrifice. When the legal challenge failed, something unexpected happened. Karen finally admitted she had never believed I would succeed. Hearing those words hurt more than any lawsuit. Yet it also brought clarity. I realized that the greatest obstacle during those years was never the farmhouse itself. It was carrying the weight of constant doubt from the people closest to me. Today, whenever I drive past that area and see how much it has grown, I remember the lesson that farmhouse taught me. People often support your dreams after they become successful. They celebrate victories they once mocked and claim credit for risks they never took. The farmhouse earned me $870,000, but the real reward was discovering how powerful belief can be when nobody else shares it. The woman who called my dream a joke ended up hiring a lawyer to claim part of it. The lawyer failed. The farmhouse sold. The money stayed where it belonged. And every time someone tells me an idea will never work, I remember that abandoned farmhouse and smile, because sometimes the best revenge is letting success deliver the final answer.